Aquaman 56, Kyle Higgins writing with Aaron Lopresti on art. This is a guest, fill-in team. It does loosely tie in to what's going on. It's a flashback issue that goes back to the start of Rebirth. It's right after the proposal of the Rebirth one-shot. And basically, thematically, it ties in because this is when the subject of possibly having kids one day first comes up in the relationship. And obviously that's relevant to now because she's about to, the one final page at the end of this issue is teasing that soon she's giving birth. Like that's going to be happening soon.
Aqua baby, 2020.
Yeah. So, but it's actually, it's a couple of two things really, the main story. The main story is them discussing kids and whether or not it's responsible for them to bring them into the world, given how crazy their lives are, and do they have the time, and yada, yada, yada. And another half is that there's a trench attack on an oil rig, which they have to go in and rescue all the workers from. That part of it I actually really enjoyed, just because I like the trench, I think they're cool villains, and it's good
they
action.
Haven't been overused, so when they show up, it still feels like it has meaning. And here they were just properly like monsters, where the oil rig digged a little bit too close and got close to where they are, and took, basically, if they're like a hive, it took the new queen of the trench, the scientists and whatnot, just thinking they found a new species and whatnot. So the trench are trying to get their queen back, and so it plays out where this Arthur and Nara show up and basically aid the trench. And I like how Arthur reaches out to the new queen and diplomatically tries to solve this.
Yeah, they have to go and save the new queen, and rides off at the end with the others. No, I mean, if I have a complaint about the issue, because I think the issue is solid for what it's doing, I think it's that even though I really like the action side of it, I don't actually think it really ties into the actual point of the issue that much, even though it's the bit I like the most.
I think, honestly, given that we've just seen Sejik's cover in the solicits featuring the trench, it's more, hey, the trench are coming back soon.
True.
Well, and I like what it means too, that the Hive are willing to cause another war to get essentially their baby queen back, right? And what does that mean for Arthur and Mara talking about kids and about their busy life? And at the end of the day, if they do have kids, they're going to do whatever they can to to protect that child. So I thought it did fit in. It was a little bit messy with how it fit in, but I didn't realize this was Kyle Higgins until the last page, and then it all clicked.
Yeah, I don't really like his voices for a lot of these. Weirdly, especially his Batman.
Yeah,
like that was horrible. His Batman line about we'll let you off roll call tomorrow. We'll understand.
Yeah.
And I also brought pie. I did not like his Batman.
It was I got a little bit of the Batman socially awkward with Kyle Higgins. Maybe that's not what I was supposed to get from it.
I don't know. It's like Arthur's after he said I brought pie, Arthur goes, "Oh, does it explode?" He goes, "We'll see."
Yeah, that was bad.
What?
Yeah, went too far. I got socially awkward as well. It probably went a little bit too far though with a couple of the lines.
Yeah. So but I do give Higgins credit for digging back into the proposal era in the stuff that was going on in Justice League with those big gigantic aliens absorbing people and how the Justice League dealt with it. Like, as much as I didn't want to be reminded by it, I was like, oh wow,
that was a thing.
That was a thing. He just reminded me. Yeah, so credit to him. I'll always be a fan of Higgins at DC. So I'll read most things he does.
Generally speaking, I quite enjoy Higgins. I think this is one of my least favorite Higgins things, even though I like the plot and the actions well enough. I think the voices are just not quite there. I don't think he's got the Aqua family down yet. And like I said, weirdly, his Batman, I'd have thought he'd have had a better handle on that by now.
Yeah, but no, I thought Lopresti's art's fine. It's bubbly.
It's really good. Lopresti has a great talent at evoking the past, and even though this is only a couple of years ago, it feels like, hey, though, this is it's got that great sense of feeling to it. I think he draws Mira with a very, very, very tiny waist at points, ridiculously so. That nearly final splash page where the two of them are looking out of the sunset. Oh boy, she was like a stick.
Give that girl a hit. Give her her waist. Right?
She's got hips. She's just got no waist. It's really noticeable on that page in particular. But I like his art overall for the most part.
Yeah. No, I think it's a fine fill-in issue. You know, I have. I remember there was a fill-in in the book during Abnett's run, and it was right during all the good stuff towards the end of his run, and there was that one fill-in with was it Wrath? Was it Wrath? Was it?
Yeah, and we had Kelly Jones on art.
Yeah, there was a fill-in, and it was like the most god awful, like just
Wrath's dad,
killing time, useless, wasn't enjoyable to read. As a fill-in goes, this was pretty solid because it still tied into the themes of what's going on in the main story, and gave me a nice little sort of standalone monster adventure. And I think for that, you know, I quite enjoyed it. Obviously, it's not as good as the regular run, and I'm looking forward to getting DeConnick back.
I was glad when I realized this was Higgins, and that it meant that DeConnick hadn't lost all the voices all of a sudden. Because I didn't look at the cover when I was reading it. I just kind of started reading, and I got to the end and saw Higgins and went, "Oh, thank God, it was someone else." That explains so much. And like I said, it's not terrible. It's perfectly readable, and the action's solid.
Like I said, it's a nice fill-in. I had to go back and look at that page that you're talking about, and it's the single page where they're looking at the sunset. Yeah,
it's like the second to last page.
She looks like a Barbie doll.
Yeah, and I think it's much more jarring because she hasn't been that bad throughout the rest of the issue. Then
Mare's almost thick. You look at her throughout the issue, and you're like, "Dang, girl, she's been doing squats."
And she stood there next to Arthur in that, who is very, very normal, and it really shows on that page, and it's a shame.
Yep.
Yeah. So, what are you giving it, Matt?
I'm gonna give this one a 7. Solid.
Yeah, Connor.
I'm going with a 6 just for some of the voices feeling a bit off. Otherwise, it probably would have been a 7.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 7 as well. I'm okay with that.